Next, we have Lieutenant Colonel John W. Peterkin, retired from the U.S. Army. He served our nation very proudly in World War II, served 2 combat tours in Korea and 2 combat tours in Vietnam. That's quite impressive. And continued his lifetime commitment to service as an NYPD officer. Let's give him a round of applause. Lieutenant Colonel Peterkin will present the Rabbi Morton Pomerantz Veteran of the Year Award to Lieutenant Colonel Paul Schottenhamel.
Good evening, all. It's a pleasure being here and getting this opportunity to speak and introduce one of my heroes, Lieutenant Colonel Schottenhamel. I mispronounced his name, but here's a man who started out in Vietnam, served with one of our combat units, and he also served the country when he came back after Vietnam. He was an individual, when he came back, for whom I had a great deal of respect. And when they asked me to introduce him, I said, gladly, thank you very much. And it's with deep pleasure that I introduce him. And he can tell you about his career after Vietnam, during Vietnam, and since he has come back discussing these things with me.
Okay. Thank you very much, Colonel Peterkin. Oh, okay. This would go.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right. Are we done? Okay. All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate being honored here. An old friend of mine from my National Guard days, Joe Schroeder, Lieutenant Colonel, retired. He's an artilleryman, but I don't hold that against him, being an infantryman. He recommended me for this fine honor, and I am very happy that he did, because I have a lot of friends here, well, several friends here in this down here today. We have members of the, I'm right now a past commander of the Queens County American Legion, and have members from the Queens Village Post who are here. I'd like to honor them and thank them for being here. And of course, Tom Long, the commander of the Continental Post, and I want to thank him for being here, although I'm sure they would have been here regardless. I was looking over the past presidents over here, and one of the presidents that stuck out in my mind was Calvin Coolidge, Silent Cal. He was sitting at a dinner party one night, and the lady was sitting next to him, and she said, "I have a bet with my friends that I can get you to say more than 2 words." And he turned around and looked at her, and he said, "You lose." If I got to explain it to you, what can I tell you? All right. All right. Yes, I enlisted in the United States Army in 1968, right after the beginning of the Tet Offensive, which was, everybody told me I was totally stupid. And I guess I was, but it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I love serving my country. And I wound up eventually going to Vietnam in end of 1969, 1970. And I was part of the Cambodian incursion that caused a lot of problems here in the United States, a lot of dissent. I remember reading about Kent State in the Stars and Stripes, because that's the only way I knew what was going on, was by reading the paper that the Army provided for us. And I was looking at the story about Kent State, where the National Guard had fired umpty-ump rounds and killed 3 students. And my first reaction, which I no longer subscribe to, was to put that National Guard unit back on the rifle range to improve their marksmanship. But they have a right to protest, and that's what America is all about. And that was one of the reasons I was over there. I didn't necessarily agree with them, but that's what it was. All right. While over there, I wound up getting wounded. Thank you. Luckily, it didn't hurt too much, but I was able to serve with some great soldiers over there. When I came back, I joined the U.S. Army National Guard and spent 15 years with them. And then after I need a lieutenant colonel slot to get promoted, so I moved over to the Army Reserve and spent another 11 years over there. So I had a total of 29 years on active duty, and I got to meet a lot of great. Thank you. I got to serve with a lot of great Americans. So the Armed Forces of the United States contains the greatest Americans that we have. They're willing to put their lives on the line. They write that blank check, which says up to and including my life. And we're on call at any time for the government if they need us. So it's really great to have been able to serve with them. And that whole thing of service that I picked up in the military continued on after I retired, even before I retired, because it's noted in my biography I've been a member of the Civilian Observation Patrol in the 104th Precinct for the last 28 years. Bob Holden knows G-Cop and 104 Cop. All right, and we've been doing that. I was the past president for 4 terms. And I totally enjoyed the same kind of people that come out for the civilian patrol are the same kind of people that I serve with in the military. And I love that. And then after I retired from the military in 1997, I joined the Vietnam Veterans of America, of which I'm a life member, and the American Legion, which is where I'm spending most of my time nowadays, now that I'm retired. And again, I'm serving with great Americans who are willing to put in time and effort. Most of the things that our service members today expect from their service, the GI Bill in particular, was brought to them by the American Legion in 1943. And they continue to fight for them, and I want to be part of that organization. And I get to serve with a lot of great Americans in the American Legion. And I get to meet a lot of other great Americans here. So thank you very much for honoring me. But I really feel that it's because of my service with other great Americans that kept me going and why I want to continue to serve, because they're the greatest people in the world. Thank you very much. Let's go take a walk.